because I was like, what's up, guys? Welcome back.
Dang.
It's going to be a super chill episode this week talking about Christmas.
Meow, 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 meow,
And then we're going to fight over our number one Christmas movie because we both know
Let's
what number
go.
one is, and we've fought about it for the last few years. So, yeah! Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, the show where nerds talk about nerdy things. I'm one of your hosts, Mr. Nick Barrett, and today we are going to be talking about our top 5 Christmas movies of all time. Because like we did last week, we read Jackson's Christmas script to kind of get into the Christmas season. And now that we're fully in it, it's Christmas time. We're going to be talking about our favorite movies. We're also going to be doing our annual gift exchange, as we do per every year. I got Jackson a gift. He got me a gift. So stick around to the end to see what we got each other. It's going to be very exciting.
I'm so excited.
We've also got a couple things to talk about before we jump into the main topic. But before any of that, Jackson, how's your week been going? How's it been?
It's been okay. I'm going to be real. I'm going to tell you it's been okay. It has been very busy, and I've had a lot of work and a lot of schoolwork, and it's finals week right now, and I just want everyone to know, if you're in college or you're out of college or you're not there yet or whatever, just so you know, when you're in college, it gets really hard to get in a Christmas spirit because you don't have the mental space to anticipate Christmas. Because let's be real, most of the excitement around Christmas, that stuff is anticipation. You're very excited because you're not just excited on Christmas Day. You anticipate the day and get ready in the season. But when you're doing finals, there's no space for that. So that's been kind of hard. I've just been man, I just really want to be buy a big old Christmas tree, watching a movie, having hot chocolate. But no, I've been studying all week. But finals aren't that hard this year. Hasn't been terrible. I've gotten to go do some fun stuff. I've been playing the new Fortnite season a little bit. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Other than that, I haven't really been watching a whole lot because I've been doing schoolwork. But I did watch the Illumination Grinch movie that I had on in the background while I was working. Not the best Grinch movie in my opinion. Another thing we'll get into later. But honestly, can I be real? Illumination Grinch? Not that bad. I think it's an enjoyable movie that I can just pop on, have a little background. The music is really good. Tyler, the Creator, popped off on that one. So, I'm not mad. I'm kind of looking at my Christmas break, in between after finals to the new year, and how I haven't watched any of the heavy hitter Christmas movies yet, none of the big ones, because you got to do it when you're close to Christmas.
Right.
But I'm going to be so busy that we will see what I actually get to watch. So tonight, I think we're watching Home Alone, maybe? I don't know. We're going to get there. So that's kind of what's been up. Just doing a lot of work, doing the fun Christmas stuff. Lots of stuff to get excited for next year. So planning a lot of really good stuff for next year for this podcast and other stuff. So that's pretty much what I've been doing. Mr. Nick, how are you? How was your week? Tell me what's up.
Well, my week could have gone better. I mean, it could have gone worse, but it was a pretty average week. Started out as you do, and then on Tuesday, that little tickle in the back of your throat where when you swallow stuff, it starts to hurt, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's not good.
That's not normal.
So I kind of I took my tea and my throat coat tea to kind of help out. And then Wednesday I could really I started to get that fatigue, and I was like, oh great, I'm gonna be sick. So I started taking all my supplements and stuff, And I was like, I'll just get some good rest Wednesday night. I'll be good. Did not sleep at all.
Yeah.
Wednesday night. Wake up Thursday. I feel like I'm dying. I'm sweating.
Yeah.
I got a headache. My nose won't stop running. I'm sick. And I was like, okay. I got to go to work, though. I sat up. I kid you not. I sat up for 30 seconds. My head, it felt like somebody was... You know those videos where they put rubber bands on the watermelon to try and like snap it in half? That's what it felt.
And it like squeezes it.
Like we were one rubber band away from my head just being chopped in half. And I was like, oh boy. Nope. And I immediately laid back down and texted my boss. And I was like, I'm going to be sick today. I'm not coming in. So I took a sick day and just kind of chilled at home. And I felt better enough yesterday, which was Friday, to... sorry, my mom called me and distracted me. I felt better enough to go to work Friday, and then, now we're here. So,
and now we're here.
If you catch me looking in like 10 different places, it's because this week I set up all my new like Mac Studio and all my monitors and stuff, and I have Discord open over here on this monitor on this side, but then I have OBS open over here, actually screen recording, because now I can screen record because I have a more powerful computer than Jackson. So I can screen record without my room warming up to about 1,000 bajillion degrees.
Yeah.
So we're screen recording. We'll see how that goes. Everything's going well so far.
It's gonna be great.
Great, because I paid $2,000 for this computer. It better work.
So weight
setting
off
that
my
up
shoulders
was very fun last weekend.
That was fun.
That's been me. Aside from like being sick, I've been editing and doing stuff behind the scenes. So,
well, also fun fact, like right before we hopped on Discord a bit ago and we were like getting ready to record, and it was like, oh, that's cool. There's a tornado warning. You love to see that. And so I was like, well, you know, if we press record and a tornado comes by, we'll see what happens. We'll just kind of play that by ear.
It wouldn't be the first time I've done anything through a tornado, because one time Colin was over at my house and we were watching My Hero Academia and a tornado warning went off. Not a watch, a warning.
Yeah,
but we were mid-episode and did not hear the phone go off. And it was like a super hype episode too. So we're standing there like, let's go!
Yo!
The phone starts going off. We don't hear it. Look down like 10 minutes later. It had passed. But it was like, oh, we could have died. Could have been just sucked up by a tornado. That would have sucked.
Yeah. It was really funny too, because they were like, hey, like we got the little alert that was like, oh, tornado warning in your area. We're like, oh gosh, okay, that's great. And it started just pouring rain. It was really bad. And I was like, well, guys, this is it. But then like literally 30 seconds later, they issued another alert that was like, hey, there is a tornado, but it already passed. So just ignore that last warning. And I was like, what do you mean ignore the last warning? Like the tornado like people really did like double text, and they were not afraid to. I don't know what they're called.
The meteorologists. They have a name. They're called the meteorologists.
Who sends those texts? Is it
the National Weather Service?
All right, the tornado people. Like, I don't know.
Almost like there's a name for this kind of thing.
That's what they're in on my phone. Like, that's my contact for the emergency weather service. Is the tornado people.
The tornado people are here.
Yeah, I picture a really good Pixar movie where like the tornado people come into town and they just wreak havoc.
We have enough Inside Out-esque movies. We don't need another one.
Ew, gross.
Oof.
All right. Well, that's good stuff. Now, we do have a couple things to get into, but before we do that, I'd like to remind you we are on Instagram at The Nerdiest Podcast and on YouTube at The Nerdiest Podcast. So if you're not following us there, go subscribe on YouTube. It's free. Follow on Instagram. It's free. We have big plans for the Instagram next year and the YouTube as well. Very exciting stuff. You can also buy your very own merch from The Nerdiest Podcast with the links in the description. And also, if you really love what we're doing here and you want access to bonus episodes, the Nerdiest Aftershow, that's right. you can become a Spotify subscriber or a Patreon with the link in the description.
New episode, guys. New episode
episodes.
of the bonus show drops next week. I'm just saying.
Yeah. It's going to go crazy. It's not that expensive, and it helps us out. So
it's literally $3 a month, and as of next week, you'll have access to 5 episodes and a bunch more next year. It's going to be great.
So
it's going to be great.
So it's going to be great. It's going to be huge. So that being said, Nick, I believe you had a couple points to hit before we went into our Christmas movie ranking. This is a rant that you've held on to for
2 weeks.
quite a while.
For 2 weeks.
2 weeks ago, you told me this was something you were going to bring up. So please, by all means,
I
do
wanted to
share.
bring it up on the last episode, but because of like how we were going over the script, it just didn't fit because it made more sense to just get right into the script. So, I'm going to get a little controversial here. I'm dropping Jujutsu Kaisen when season 2 is over. I cannot stand this series anymore. Allow me to explain. So, for a little context, I'm watching it as it's airing right now. And I watched it when it initially came out. I watched like the first half of season 1 and then dropped it for a little bit, let it finish, and then I binged to the end. I watched the movie when it came out in theaters, and then I started watching season 2 because I was really excited about like the Gojo Geto arc, because I had read that in the manga and I was like, oh, it was really good in the manga. I really like that. And then we get to the Shibuya arc, and I'm like, okay, I've heard everyone say this is really depressing. Now, obviously, a lot of depressing things happen. That's the problem, is that a lot of depressing things happen. And what has me so frustrated is that back to back, 2 weeks in a row, 2 very significant characters die. One, I kind of get. I'm like, okay, it was okay that he died. Like, that made sense based on his character. I'm not happy about it. I feel like he didn't make a significant enough contribution to the plot to be killed off, but it's whatever. And then the second one, I was not expecting this. I had heard about it, but I wasn't expecting it because I thought it was like further down the line. Is one of my favorite characters is now dead. Yeah. And I'm so sad about that because it was completely preventable on her part. Like, this wasn't like oh no, she jumped off the wrong building and then didn't catch herself and splatted against the ground. No, like, for no reason whatsoever, entirely anti her character, she just stopped moving. She just stood still. And then the bad guy was like, oh, gotcha. And then she died. And we got a whole flashback episode of like her with her friend. And everyone was like, oh, she's totally going to live, right? Boom. Nope, she's dead. Gone. And I'm like, okay, but why? So here's my bigger issue with Jujutsu Kaisen. Like, those two were kind of the straw that broke the camel's back. And I don't know if I've mentioned this on an episode before. My hot take is that Jujutsu Kaisen should not have Yuji as the protagonist, which I know Jackson can't really weigh in here because he's never seen it.
No, not really.
If you want a great description of Jujutsu Kaisen in a sentence, it's becoming the Antichrist through the power of finger licking good. And I'll leave you with that. So my bigger overall issue with Jujutsu Kaisen is I never felt like I got attached to Yuji throughout season 1 at all. Like, obviously I liked him. He's a very enjoyable character, but he never felt like the main character because the main character always felt like Gojo, which is then later reinforced when the movie came out. And I was like, okay, so we got Yuta. Yuta's cool, but then he's gone. And then we got Gojo, and I'm like, dude, Gojo's kind of cool. Gojo's kind of sick, bro. He's epic. And then you get to the first half of season 2, or like the first 5 episodes, which is this whole flashback with Gojo and Geto and all of like the friends that he went to school with, and this tragic event that kind of changed them and set everybody on this course. And I think what happened is the author had this really solid setup of this cast of characters, and then decided to make it all a flashback and do something completely different. Because in modern Jujutsu Kaisen, I don't feel like there is an antagonist. Like, obviously there's Sukuna, and we're like, oh, we should fight the bad guy. And then, like, Geto's still out there, and they're like, but who's that guy? He got a little, like, brain thing in his head. That's kind of weird.
Wow.
But
He has a brain thing.
yeah, he has a brain thing. It's kind of weird.
Is it like the minion from Megamind?
No, like he literally has stitches on his forehead, and he can pull back the stitches, and his brain has a mouth on it. Like it's weird.
Ew.
And I'm like,
what the heck?
So is that supposed to be the main antagonist? But I don't feel like this character has been set up as the main antagonist because you duped us into thinking that it was someone else. So I can't do Jujutsu Kaisen anymore. It's too confusing. All of my favorite characters are dead or sealed and are going to be killed later, probably. And it's not I don't have an issue with killing characters. My bigger issue is that they're being killed for no reason, or almost being killed for a shock factor of like, but you didn't think this person was going to die, did you? Now they're dead. And, you know, other shows do that, like Attack on Titan does it all the time, where they're like, we're going to kill this character that you got attached to, so don't get attached to any characters. But then I never felt like they killed anyone. Like Attack on Titan had a good balance of, we're going to kill this character you love, but you've gotten attached to them, and that's okay that they're dead, and they have a reason for dying, and their death was sacrificial, or their death was unfortunate. And I just feel like Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't have that. So I'm not here to hate on people who love Jujutsu Kaisen. I know it's somebody's favorite anime of all time. You know, somebody out there really loves Jujutsu Kaisen as much as I love My Hero, and more power to you. It's just not for me. And, you know, maybe I'll watch it casually. Saying I'm dropping Jujutsu Kaisen is very strong. I will probably watch it very casually when, like, the inevitable season 3 rolls around, because I know some stuff of, like, what is coming in the manga.
Yeah.
And I'll probably, like, watch it casually, but once season 2 is over, I'm kind of like, I'm cool. Yeah. I'm cool with letting Jujutsu Kaisen go, because I have too much other stuff to watch.
Yeah.
That I'm like,
Yeah. And I don't know. I can't really weigh in because I haven't seen the show, but not justifying a character's death is a really good way to portray your audience, because it's really like these characters that your audience are getting connected to, and then you just unjustly kill them for plot and shock. Like the Rise of Skywalker does this, where they're like, oh my gosh, Chewbacca's dead, but he's not. And you're like, okay, this doesn't matter. Like, this doesn't...
What are you talking about? The Rise of Skywalker didn't kill anyone?
I mean, they tried to kill people for shock value, but
killed
didn't have the
people.
guts to actually do it. So, I understand. That's brutal. We were supposed to watch the movie this year for an episode and just didn't. But I don't know. Maybe next year, if you guys really, really want some Jujutsu Kaisen content,
I'll think about it, because I have to decide whether or not I want to watch it again.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's like for Jackson, it's one thing because he's watching it for the first time.
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, do I want to watch this again? Like, do I want to put myself through that again? Which is why I've talked about, like, if we do Jujutsu Kaisen, I might have you do the first 5 episodes of season 2 and then jump to the movie, because I really like the story that is told there, and I really like the characters there, and it does feel like that is a start and finish story, which I know Jujutsu Kaisen 0 was written as essentially a proof of concept to get Jujutsu Kaisen in Shonen Jump, because like it's like, hey, look, I wrote this thing with a really cool concept and really cool characters and like all that. Now you should give me a full series. And then the author went on to do the main series. But what sucks is he then went back and wrote more before the movie came, like before the movie. And it's like, if you want to do this, just, I don't know.
It's too complicated. Make it real. In other news, we're going to some gaming news. Touch this real quickly. New Fortnite season just dropped.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
Oh, OG is over.
OG is over. Amen. Thank God.
OG's over. Now we're into the new season. I think it's called Underground. Fortnite Underground, and we have new modes. We have the festival, the rocket racing, and the Lego mode. Now, I've only played the festival one. We played that today, and it was super fun. I think it has the potential to grow, but right now it's definitely still in like a testing phase where they're like, let's throw some songs on here and see if people want to play it. And so I think it's fun. I'm excited to see that grow. I also like really want rhythm games to come back because like I grew up playing like Guitar Hero and Rock Band and like those awesome games that are like, they were multiplayer, they encouraged you to like play with your friends, and now that we have online capabilities like this, it's never been easier. And so I would love to do that. And I'm also really confused because I'm like, why is Fortnite at the front of this movement?
Yeah, right?
To like bring back these games. So there's that, and then there's Lego Fortnite, which I haven't played, but from the looks of it, it looks like it's what Lego Worlds should have been.
Absolutely. 100% true.
And so I don't know if you guys remember Lego Worlds, but it was a really great concept. It was a video game that was like Minecraft but with Legos, and then they just really didn't support it like they needed to. And so like Lego Worlds came out and it was a pretty decent success, and then people were like, okay, this is good, but you could fix this stuff. And then they just kind of didn't, and they just kind of left it. Like, and so it's super buggy, and there's not a whole lot to play with. And so that's really sad, and I still own it and want to go back sometime. But Lego Fortnite looks good, and they've had like 2 million players.
Yeah,
like, all
I'm
week.
shocked with how well it's doing.
Yeah.
There's something about Lego Fortnite that just like, I don't know. It feels weird to me because I'm like, why is this in Fortnite of all places? Like, I don't know. It feels like it is that Lego Worlds type game that they really wanted to do, but they never could fully commit to like a full $60, $30 game.
Yeah.
So they just said, let's put it in Fortnite because Fortnite is free, and then you can decide whether or not you want to buy skins. They've done a ton of work to, port over emotes and skins and other cosmetics just for Lego Fortnite. Like, the fact that almost all of the Marvel and Star Wars skins are available and you don't even have to rebuy them. If you already own them, it automatically switches over. That is something that would have been so easy to be like, all right, well, now you got to buy the Lego Darth Vader skin. Now you got to buy the Lego Anakin skin. Like, just the fact that they did that. So I played Lego Fortnite a little bit on a launch day. I think I've put like 20 or 30 minutes into it. Another revolution, speaking of Fortnite, I switched from playing Fortnite on Switch to Xbox, and oh my gosh, it's like putting glasses on for the first time. When you go from like really blurry to like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing in 1080p HD.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't know what Fortnite looks like on Switch, go look up a video of Switch gameplay and then go look up Xbox gameplay. It's dramatically different.
Yeah.
All of my skins actually load in HD. I don't have to sit on the loading screen for 10 freaking minutes just to load into a match. It's also nice because I play a lot with my friends from work, and we go on Discord, and I can just throw Discord from my phone to my Xbox and plug my headset into my controller.
Yeah.
And then I've got the game audio and their audio in my head. Yeah. In my earphones. So, but yeah, Lego Fortnite's very fun. I played one round of the racing yesterday. It's okay. The controls are kind of iffy. I need to give it another shot. And then, like Jackson said, we played the festival. Festival's really fun. I just need them to add more songs that I actually know.
Because their songs are good. They have like Seven Nation Army and Bad Guys on there. Some of the original Fortnite songs. Their big thing is like The Weeknd. Is a lot of his songs are on there right now, and I just don't like The Weeknd. I really don't.
He is the big collab. I do kind of hope that some of the Fortnite original songs, like the Battle Pass songs and stuff, are put on there, or there's an ability to like. I don't know. I just feel like the Fortnite original songs should always be on there. Yeah. And then
their collabs can...
Yeah, like the Icon series songs can are the ones that rotate. And I know they have like a whole different battle pass for the festival mode, and that's what's going to determine who the main artist is. So like the weekend is the main artist until February,
which is so weird because they literally put like an entire Guitar Heroes game worth of content on that battle pass in Fortnite. Like, this isn't...
Could have been its own game that you had to pay for,
like
but it's free in Fortnite.
Which is so weird. Like, I can't decide if I'm mad. Like,
I'd like to use this. Go ahead.
That's pretty much it. I don't know what to feel. I feel like I can't decide if I'm mad or, like, proud. Like, I really don't know.
I'd like to use this to segue into our next gaming topic. The Game Awards was this week.
Yeah.
Which we'll get to the obvious in a second. But I'm almost more upset that Fortnite lost Best Ongoing Game to Cyberpunk 2077, which, to be fair, Cyberpunk did have a really big turnaround from launch to now. It was
from being completely unplayable.
It was actually a worse than Battlefront 2 type comeback.
Yes.
Like Battlefront 2 was
worse.
bad, but it wasn't unplayable. Cyberpunk was unplayable. They had to issue refunds. Like, it was bad. And the fact that they were able to get back to it now where people are actually excited, and let's be honest, most of that came from the anime last year. That was just a really big marketing stunt to get people to play the game again, and it worked.
Yeah. It's kind of brilliant.
I'm still mad that Fortnite lost to that. How? Fortnite has Battle Royale, Zero Build, Rocket Racing, Lego Fortnite, and Fortnite Festival, and you're telling me after, like, OG season, when they broke all of their records for number of players coming back to play the OG season, and then roll into this new season where they've got all this new map stuff, they've got weapon mods, they've got, like, all these movement changes. How do you lose?
I think it's so interesting, and this is a conversation that's kind of been ongoing this year, is we're like, you know, Cyberpunk, whatever, like, it had a good comeback, but we also, like, it sounds weird to try to defend Fortnite in that sense, but it's like, hey, don't count Fortnite out of this, because, like, 7 years after release, they hit a new peak player base. Like, if that's not best ongoing game, then what is? Like, I'm really confused. And, like, you can hate on Fortnite if you want. I don't really care. I've only played the Battle Royale and the festival now. But, like, they really care about the game, and it's free, and it's super accessible. And then you'd be like, well, it's not free, but, well, like, yes, it is. It's free to play.
You don't have to spend any money on Fortnite.
Right.
You can load it up for free and not spend a dime and get the exact same level of enjoyment out of it that I do. Okay?
Right. Now, granted, have I spent money on some skins? Wholeheartedly. Not too much money, but also they're saying Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is coming to the shop.
Also, John Wick's coming back.
And John Wick.
See, this is great. I've got none of those skins are really piquing my interest. Although, me and my coworkers are talking about each of us buying a Ninja Turtle, so we can all, like, trio up as the Ninja Turtles. I'm like,
That'd be so fun.
That's true.
Yeah,
I get it.
Anyway, speaking to the Game Awards, Game of the Year was reported as Baldur's Gate 3. Now, I'd just like to say, Tears of the Kingdom snubbed.
No, you're so right.
Here's the thing. I may just be disconnected out of the loop. I've never heard of Baldur's Gate 3 until today.
That seems to be the common consensus with people I talk to, is that they've never heard of Baldur's Gate until the Game Awards. And I'm like, how?
And so
How do you lose? How do you lose? I know this isn't the Zelda team's fault. How do they lose to Baldur's Gate? Nobody heard of Baldur's Gate. It took 3 Baldur's Gates to get nominated for Game of the Year. It took Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Both bro.
It only took Zelda 2.
Baldur's Gate and 1 and 2 were not nominated for Game of the Year.
That was
Breath of the Wild was nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I don't know. I'm just kind of confused, and I don't know what their justification of that decision was.
So
But
silly critics.
Generally, what I've seen is that, I haven't seen a lot of people say that they agree. And maybe there's a ton of people out there that love Baldur's Gate 3, and I just don't know them. I really don't know. But, like...
They're not real.
I don't know. Most anticipated game doesn't always translate into best game of the year, but I feel like this one did. Like, it should have
I'm just saying,
translated into best game of the year.
In Baldur's Gate 3, can you build a fully functioning Godzilla mech and use it to wipe out a camp of bokoblins? I don't think so. Does half of that come because bokoblins and Zonai mechanics aren't in Baldur's Gate 3? Call that exclusivity. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm just saying.
I saw a really good, my favorite tweet of the week, and this is video game related, is someone said they need to make a Grand Theft Auto game for people that are uncomfortable committing crimes. And then someone replied with the Lego City Undercover game.
I love that tweet so much because it's exactly what it is.
I have not laughed harder at a Twitter post in forever. Like saying that Lego City Undercover is GTA for people that are uncomfortable committing crime is the truest statement said in history.
Open world game where you play as someone and you get to steal cars. Because it's like, here's the thing though, is you justify it by being like, well, I'm a cop and I'm doing this to catch the bad guy. So it's okay.
So it's okay.
And it's like, no, that seems like an abuse of power.
Do you remember when you did a Lego City Undercover playthrough on YouTube and you got pretty deep into it?
I got a quarter of the way through the game and I was on part 15. I was like, what? I'm only a quarter of the way through, and then I stopped because I was like, no, I can't do this.
I remember that. That was crazy. Wow.
Tears of the Kingdom snubbed. Don't worry. Much like Thanos. Fine. I'll do it myself. But you'll find out about that more later.
So
not this episode, like later.
Not this episode, but
future.
later.
Yeah.
So we have some Christmas movies to rank, give a little top 5, and some gifts to open.
Oh my goodness.
And we're so excited to do that. But before we do that, I'd just like to say that this year, you could give the gift of supporting small creators.
Tell me more.
With the sponsor of today's episode, Lure.tv. That's LOOR.tv.
What?
Now, Lure is a fundraising platform more than a streaming platform.
No way.
They're building a streaming platform one subscriber at a time.
That's crazy.
And Lure is a streaming platform that allows you monthly subscribers to spend their monthly subscriptions funding movies and TV shows they actually want to see. So instead of paying for something like Netflix, where, they're just kind of throwing your money to whatever they want and you don't really want to see any of it, you get to vote on what gets made and put on Lure. Now, you can fund shows through Loot, which gets refreshed every Tuesday. It's like a game. Every Tuesday, your Loot gets refreshed. But if you want to show special love to the projects that you really like, you can buy extra Loot, just like a game. Now, Lure has already raised over $80,000 for independent filmmakers.
What?
So, if you want to get in on the action, get in on the ground floor, you can use our code NERDPOD, and we also get some of the love, and you help us out because we're also independent filmmakers. Isn't that crazy? So if you really want to watch some good content and fund what Holly wouldn't, please go to lure.tv, LOOR.tv, and use the code NERDPOD, NERDPOD. And you can help independent creators, including us. And we'd like to thank Lure for sponsoring this episode. Now,
that's crazy.
Our top 5 Christmas movies.
Okay.
2023.
So we've actually done this before. We did this in 2020. So it's been 3 years.
It's been a hot second.
I don't think anything has changed. So
I don't know. I think mine actually has changed.
well, mine has changed. I know it has changed. I just wanted to be dramatic for the sake of being dramatic for about 5 seconds.
Here's the thing. I recently made a Christmas movie ranking, and I picked out 15 of my favorite Christmas movies.
Oh, that's cool. I've got 9.
And so I'm not going to go through all 15. I'm just going to say, if you haven't seen Violent Night, it's disgusting. Rated R. Don't watch it. It's the most violent movie I've ever seen. It's hilarious. And I'm going to watch it again this year.
I feel like you've given me mixed signals there. Because you were like, don't watch it. It's really violent and gross, but I'm going to watch it again. So, yeah, it's really funny.
Violent Night is a comedy. It's so funny. But I've honestly never thrown up in my mouth in a movie except for Violent Night. So
okay, before we like give the list, should we set a definition of what a Christmas movie is?
Yes.
Because I think a lot of debate goes into like, is Die Hard really a Christmas movie? Because it didn't come out around Christmas, but it takes place at Christmas. But it's also not like, when you think Christmas movie, you think Elf, The Grinch, The Polar Express,
The Grinch,
like
Home Alone, you know.
It's more about the vibe.
Yeah.
From a movie. So, for me, I'm looking at my top 5, and 2 of them take place at Christmas but are not Christmas movies. Actually, I can make a very strong case for one of them being an actual Christmas movie.
Okay.
The other one, not so much, because it came out in the middle of the summer. But I will still make a case for it.
I think my classification for a Christmas movie is usually, if it takes place during Christmas, you have a valid case. That doesn't mean that it is, but it means that you have a valid case. Let me explain. Die Hard is a valid case. I would consider it a Christmas movie because it feels weird to watch Die Hard in August.
Right.
Because it's a very winter-themed movie. The Die Hard is a Christmas movie because it's important to the plot that it's Christmas. That's the reason he goes to the tower. That's it adds to the story.
Yep, that makes
where
sense.
you have another movie like, I think of Jumanji: The Next Level. That movie takes place during Christmas, but it's not a Christmas movie. That's what I'm saying. So taking place during Christmas does not equal a Christmas movie, but it makes a case. Now, Jumanji: The Next Level, it takes place in Christmas for like 5 minutes. So it's kind of like, I don't think that's a Christmas movie. But I also, and I don't know where this falls, I could watch The Force Awakens as a Christmas movie.
See, I wouldn't consider that a Christmas movie because that has nothing to do with Christmas aside from the fact that it was released in December.
See,
I don't think that should count at all.
See, I understand and I agree. It really shouldn't, but I could watch it as a Christmas
at that point,
movie.
I could be like, well, I think The Last Jedi is my favorite Christmas movie.
But, yeah, but
because then you're bending the rules too much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, you need clear lines.
Now, if you want something Star Wars, you could always watch the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
Or just the normal Star Wars Christmas special from the 80s.
No.
Let's just watch that one.
No.
All right. With that clarification out of the way, hit me with your number 5.
My number 5? This is going to make you so sad.
5. Oh, gosh.
My number 5 is Elf.
Okay. I understand why that would make me sad. But as long as it's in the top 5, I'm okay.
It was very close to not being in the top 5. It actually, I'd argue it's more tied with the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. It was a very close race. Like, it could have been the Holiday Special number 5. But, what?
Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
Look, now he broke his camera.
Great.
Good job, Jackson. This is why we don't do visual gags. because
Oh,
now you broke your
man.
camera and now you got to fix it.
Hold on. I think the battery died.
How quick do your batteries die?
Hit me with the top 5.
Okay, well, I'll explain Elf while I'm going. Here's what I'll say. I only really feel strongly about maybe 2 or 3 movies on this list. I text Jackson last night at like midnight because I was trying to put my list together, and I was like, I don't think we can keep doing this because I don't have a top 5. And he was like, oh, okay. So then I really started scrounging on Letterboxd to put together a top 5 because I have 9 movies in this list, but I don't really feel that strongly about any of them. I get more excited about Christmas music than I do Christmas movies, which sounds weird because I'm a big movie guy and I like watching movies. And don't get me wrong, I like watching Christmas movies. But really, aside from like 1 or 2 movies that I watch every year, I'm kind of cool with skipping everything else. So you'll know based off this top 5 what is and isn't on my list, or what is and isn't that I watch every year. Anyway, Elf, it's a great movie. Very good. Very classic. I've started saying whenever anybody leaves at work, I'll just go, bye, coworker. I hope you find your dad. And then they walk out of the building and everyone thinks it's funny. Like, it's the funniest thing I've ever done.
It's hilarious.
So, Elf is good.
It's peak
classic.
comedy.
I still refuse to believe that Zooey Deschanel is in that movie.
That does not look like her.
It doesn't. It, like, legitimately doesn't. There's no way she looks like that in 2003.
See, here's the thing.
It's also weird because Will Ferrell was, like, old in that movie.
Right.
And she was not old.
But he, like, really doesn't look that old.
He doesn't look that old. But
he's
she
older
was
than
also born in
her.
1980, so she would have been
She was,
23.
like, 23.
And
When was
it
he born then?
doesn't say when Will Ferrell was born. It just talks about
That's rude.
his thing. All right, let me ask Siri.
Talks about his what?
When was Will Ferrell
Huh?
born?
Oh.
Oh, thanks for not answering. 1967.
Whoa.
So he's
There's no way
13
that's
years
real.
older than her?
Okay.
I don't know. It just felt like a weird age
Yeah.
gap, and I didn't like that. I mean, Will Ferrell does great in that role. That was
Yeah.
always weird.
I had a point. Oh, I've always thought it was dumb that people don't know that Clark Kent is Superman until I realized Zooey Deschanel is in Elf. And then I was like, honestly, I think it kind of makes sense. But, okay.
I'm going to look
okay.
up a clip while you talk about your number 5.
Okay, well, it made top 5. So, number 5.
Oh
for
my
me,
gosh. Wait, sorry. I hate to cut
go
you
ahead.
off.
Go ahead.
I click on YouTube. One of the first thing that pops up is Game Theory. The Game Awards are wrong. Game of the Year. And I'm like, did Matt Pat just do a 20-minute video talking about why Tears of the Kingdom should have been Game of the Year?
Yo.
And it's rigged? I'm going to watch that later. Okay,
Yeah,
continue.
Put in the same word. Anyway, my number 5, it might be a little niche, a little more unknown. And so if you have not seen this movie, wholeheartedly recommend. Now, it is kind of hard to watch. I think that's why it's not as known, because it's only on Apple Plus. And so it's definitely inconvenient in that way. But my number 5 movie is Spirited. Now, Spirited has Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds as the main characters. And it is the most underrated Christmas movie ever. It came out like 2 years ago, I think. And the music is phenomenal. The story is phenomenal. And the whole movie is hilarious. And honestly, like, you don't think that Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds are going to be like absolutely stellar in a musical, but they are. They're phenomenal. They sing really well. And the soundtrack is on repeat for me all year. Like, the soundtrack is really peak for Christmas musicals. It's hilarious. It's heartfelt. It is like PG. I'd say it's PG, but it's really funny. Octavia Spencer's in it. She sings too. Does a really good job because it's essentially like a comedy musical version of like Charles Dickens' Christmas with the ghosts of past, present, and future. But then like Will Ferrell, who is like the head of all the ghosts or whatever, he's one of the ghosts. He like falls in love with this real girl. And like, so it's like, there's like two different plots and it's like really fun. And my favorite part of Spirited is they do make an elf reference. And so like Will Ferrell is like walking at this Christmas party and he sees a guy dressed as Buddy the Elf. And he just looks at him and he says, "You look so stupid." And then he just keeps walking. It's iconic. 10 out of 10. If you like musicals, if you like Ryan Reynolds or Will Ferrell, amazing movie. Really think it's underrated. And I hope that it gets more accessible soon because Apple Plus is not the streaming service that everyone is foaming at the mouth to get right now.
No.
So I feel like no one intentionally has Apple Plus.
No, you get it because you got a new Apple product and they gave you a free 3-month trial.
Yeah, and so you watch...
I have one because I just bought an Apple product.
Yo! So you could watch Spirited. Yeah, no one is intentionally paying for Apple Plus. So, anyway, that's my number 5. Highly recommend.
I looked at footage of Zooey Deschanel in Elf, and, like, looking at the video, I can tell that it's her.
Right.
But with my only other experience of her being New Girl, it's still very hard to comprehend.
I've seen her live. Did you know that?
I did know that.
I saw her. She and Him, if you don't know, is her band with M. Ward. And their Christmas music is phenomenal, but also their original music is phenomenal.
What a
I saw their Christmas concert live 2 years ago. They came to Nashville. It was phenomenal.
Wow.
Anywho.
Are we on
Number 4?
Okay. My number 4. This is my first case for a Christmas movie that is not actually a Christmas movie.
Okay. Hit me with it.
And I'm also a little biased because they filmed part of this movie in my hometown.
Okay.
So I'd like to submit Iron Man 3 as my number 4.
Okay.
Because I rewatched it this year, not at Christmas time. I watched it like in July, and I was like, dang, this kind of goes hard as like Christmas movie rewatch. Because it does take place at Christmas time. And the whole thing is, Joy. I just got a text. We're under a tornado warning. That's cool.
Oh, sick.
So now it's my turn, I guess.
That's awesome.
I didn't get a text from the city, though. I got a text from my mom.
Did you get a text from the tornado people?
No, I got a text from my mom.
Then it's false information. I don't think that's reliable information.
Can I just tell my mom to call me because we're recording? Or can someone open my door?
You're probably fine. And if it comes through, you'll have it on video.
Hold on.
All right. That's cool. Fun fact, while you're doing that, I've never seen Iron Man 3. It's just one of the Marvel movies that has slipped under the radar for me. I've seen the first 2 and I just haven't seen the third one.
I'd like to ask a question. If my Mac Studio gets swept away in a tornado, does Apple Care cover that?
Do you have the Apple Care?
Yeah.
I think so. I don't see why it would.
Does Apple Care cover that?
I feel
does that count as
that's
I broke my Mac Studio?
That's got to be the same thing as like fire damage, though,
not
right?
That,
that's the same kind of.
Not
insurance.
that that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like, if your whole house gets destroyed from a tornado, I don't feel like a Mac Studio is. Also, I'd like to know where my mother is getting her information because the Weather Channel says it's only a watch, and I haven't gotten a text from the city. So
yeah, I think you should wait for the tornado people to.
I'm not saying my mom is wrong.
I'm not saying. I'm
just saying.
Sounds like
the government hasn't told me that I need to take shelter, which means it must not be true.
So, I'm just saying, Mom, you're wrong.
So anyway, Iron Man 3.
Yeah, Iron Man 3, am I right?
So, Iron Man 3. Banger movie. I can't believe you've never seen it. Like,
I haven't.
you've actually what?
I've never seen it.
You need to watch it. Takes place.
I probably will.
It kind of takes place at Christmas and New Year's. Like the first half of the movie is Christmas Eve, Christmas, and then the rest of it is kind of like in the stretch between Christmas and New Year's. So
Okay.
it kind of like it spans both holidays. I count it as a Christmas movie because I need Christmas movies to fill out this list. So yeah, I submit Iron Man 3 as my number 4.
I have not seen it, but
I'm gonna keep checking
sounds
for
like
a
a
text from the
banger.
tornado people.
Sounds like a banger. Number 4.
Number 4.
Let me just say that all my homies, if you don't like this movie, I understand, but you don't get it. It's art. It's art.
Okay.
It's supposed to be artistic. Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. So,
You're so right.
I'm sorry. My mom. Why are our moms just?
Did your mom also text
bad?
you?
Yeah, she did, but it wasn't tornado related. It was something else. I don't know. Anyway,
What a day. What a fun episode. Assuming none of us dies in this episode actually
for
hits
real. This is crazy.
hits the airwaves.
Anywho, Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Banger. Now, I understand because a lot of people don't. I know a lot of people that don't like this movie. And I understand because it's a Ron Howard movie, and I can honestly tell you I haven't watched a whole lot of Ron Howard movies. Did you not know that?
It's a Ron Howard movie?
Yeah, Ron Howard directed Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Fun fact.
I didn't know that.
I can honestly say I have not seen a plethora of Ron Howard movies. Let me see if I can go to his letterbox to see what I have seen. But
I haven't seen Solo. I know that.
I've seen some of Solo.
Now, you haven't seen Solo.
Right.
Here's a
I
question.
saw,
I hate to
Arrested
keep bringing this up, but if you're only in the green, I feel like that doesn't qualify you for a tornado warning. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to keep bringing this up and derailing the episode.
Not to hammer on this point, but like, green zone is not warning, guys. You can still go golfing if you're in the green
I'm
zone.
looking at
That's
it, like,
what I'm saying.
What I love that the Weather Channel app does is it puts a little gray circle on the city, and then it puts a little blue circle where I'm actually at, which is nice because my city is pretty big.
Yeah.
So, like, there could be something happening on the west end of the city, and it
just
not
wouldn't
affect
affect you
me
at all.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. So if I zoom in and look at my section, it's green. Oh, there's a little yellow. And then
Just
it's
yellow.
green. And then it's just green. Also,
I feel like you gotta be in orange or red to really care.
For the viewers who don't understand, I'm going to give a little context and then I'll stop bringing it up. So I have a lot of PTSD with severe weather and tornadoes, and my coping mechanism for when I'm stressed is humor. So that's why I've been very light about it, because if I can laugh about it, then it must be okay. So inside, I'm falling apart. On the outside, though, perfectly fine.
This is great. This is great.
So, continue to talk about...
So Jim Carrey's How the Grinch Stole Christmas is a Ron Howard movie with Jim Carrey, who is an icon. And I think that I understand why a lot of people don't like this movie, because it's not very festive. It's not like hit you in the face, bright, fun Christmas. It's kind of gritty. It's like really dark. It's kind of claustrophobic. It's really quirky. But I would also argue that this is the closest adaptation of The Grinch to the book. Like, Dr. Seuss movies aren't supposed to be goofy. Or they can be. Like, you think about the Lorax. Like, that's a good example of like a fun Dr. Seuss movie, where I really like this take of like kind of a dark version of that. And like, it's a really, really good way to be like, hey, the Grinch, he was evil. Like he was rotten. He was
Not a great
terrible.
guy.
And like really like letting that like stink of like, man, the Grinch just sucks. But also letting someone like Jim Carrey, who is so expressive with his face, like his face was so real in this movie, even under a pound of prosthetic, and like all that, he still made it funny, and he had a really good redemptive arc. So I don't think anyone but Jim Carrey could have done this. So that's my pick. Fun fact about this movie. I watched this movie when I was very young, maybe 4 years old. Way too young to watch this movie because it is really dark and gritty and weird. So, that being said, I was terrified. To this day, the most vivid nightmares of my life have been about Jim Carrey's Grinch when I was like 5, 6 years old. And I just think that here's the other thing. My parents thought that it would be funny to put like a Grinch stuffed animal in my bed.
That's never a good way to start a sentence. My parents thought it would be funny.
My parents thought it would be funny if
this thing happened.
And so they stuck it in my bed, and one night I just went to bed and it was there, and it scared the mess out of me. But here's the thing. Sounds really mean, right?
Didn't affect
After
me.
that, I wasn't really afraid of him, you know? I really like How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Thanks, Mom and Dad. So that's kind of what's up. That's what's hanging. How the Grinch Stole Christmas, you know? It's artsy. It's supposed to be weird and dark, but also it's hilarious. The jokes hit every time. Jim Carrey is an icon. The prosthetic makeup, like set design, it's very immersive. And so I think don't sleep on How the Grinch Stole Christmas. That's what I'll say. Reconsider your thoughts on it if you don't like it. That's what I'll say.
Okay. Well, what a segue. Number three, Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the Jim Carrey version. I really just kind of want to pare it back everything Jackson said. If you don't like it, you're wrong. It's very good. It's one of Jim Carrey's best roles. And I think there's
next to Dr. Eggman.
It's obviously. It's one of those movies that like we've seen another iteration of the movie. Like there are a lot of Christmas movies we've never seen another iteration of Elf. We've never seen another iteration of like Home Alone. I mean, we have, but they've been bad.
Right.
And the Grinch is like, okay, we have Jim Carrey, then we got the Illumination one, and everyone is like, well, it's not the same as the Jim Carrey one. So it's just very interesting. And this is something I've noticed about Christmas movies in general is we kind of made like 5 or 6, maybe 8 good Christmas movies and then just stopped making original good Christmas movies. And they're kind of like, well, we're just going to keep rewatching some of the other ones. I also think Christmas movies are harder than normal movies because we watch Christmas movies from November to December, and that's it. And that's the only time you ever watch them. But then there's other movies like, you know, all the other movies we watch in a year, and we watch them year round. So I think Christmas movies are a lot harder to make because it's like, well, you only got a 2-month window.
You have a little window, and you have to be really, you have to be really clear on what it is. And because, you could say it's hard to make a Christmas movie, but you also look at all the Hallmark, like sappy Hallmark stuff that's out there, where it's like they're not trying to make a cinematic masterpiece. They know that their Hallmark movies are cringy and sappy and weird and like just like that, but it sells really well. So they just need to make like 100 of them, and that's fine. Like that's a whole nother genre of like Christmas movie. But you're right, like Spirited, the two that I've seen in more recent time are Spirited and Klaus are the two that I've seen in the last
Klaus almost made the list.
Like even 10 years. Like what else? What new Christmas movies have come out that'll be classics? So I think that's an interesting point. So rant over.
Ready.
Number 3.
Hold on. I might have to pause because I got a text from the tornado people, but I haven't heard anything from my mom. So now I'm like, I don't know. Do I need to stop? Do I need to go downstairs? Because I found out like the Weather Channel finally updated.
Right.
And said like, hey, you guys might want to do something. And
LOL.
now, I don't know. I haven't gotten a text from my mom. So I don't know if we'll should
see
like
what happens.
Pause for a minute and then come back and maybe there will be nothing here. Maybe.
Well, you know?
I kind of want to pause and just go survey and see what's the sitch, what's the happenstance.
Let's take a quick pause. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back after a word. Well, we've already done our sponsor bit.
Shoot, dude. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Da-da-da-da. And we're back. I'm not dead.
Hooray.
The tornado people, I mean, they didn't do anything. God just shifted the storm up so we could keep going. So that's always nice.
You know, the tornado people said, hey, hold on, wait for like 20 minutes. And they're like, okay, you're fine.
All good. I will say it is kind of freaky because it hit north of here. And I have like my coworkers live north of here. And they're like, yeah, it definitely hit up here. And I was like, shoot. It was kind of because sometimes with storms, like if it doesn't affect your immediate area, you're like,
right. You're like, it's kind of whatever. Like,
but then when you have people who are like, oh no, it hit here, I'm like, oh,
you're like,
I'm so sorry.
Okay,
that's unfortunate.
It just makes it feel so much more real.
Thankfully, all my coworkers are okay.
Whew,
so
that's good.
That's always good.
All right.
Now,
well,
we got the green light from the tornado people to keep going, so we're gonna keep going.
Tornado people, this is great. So. Number 3.
If you forgot
baby.
mine, it's the Grinch.
The Grinch. Yours is the Grinch. My number 3 is the cult classic Home Alone. The first one.
Really?
The first one. Yeah. Macaulay Culkin in his peak. I'm sorry. That Home Alone works well as a movie, not even as a Christmas movie. It works really well just as a movie. And I think that Home Alone really hammers in like a nostalgia factor for me because I grew up watching it every year and it was a tradition in our family. So nostalgia is a big part of it, but also like it hits the perfect like 90s aesthetic, you know? Like when you watch Home Alone, like everything is the fashion is so 90s and like the house. I feel like this was a big thing in like old movies in the 80s and 90s where it's like they have the biggest house you've ever seen in your life and it's like gorgeous. And it's like, yeah, I'm a businessman. And you're like, what do you mean you're a businessman? Your house is like gorgeous and there's like 100 people at your house. And so
that's how he affords it, is being a businessman.
Also, like, I don't know, the end of Home Alone growing up was, like, the funniest movie ever. Like, them going through the traps that he set, absolutely iconic. Truly, truly. I thought that was the funniest thing ever, to just hear grown men scream. They're like, oh, my gosh. Ah. And 6-year-old me was like, this is peak comedy. This is it. Like, we peaked, guys. No need to try anymore. So, yeah, there we are. And I get to watch it tonight, and I'm so, so excited.
What was the question? Sorry, I'm watching the news on my iPad and I'm actively listening to it. And they did like a zoom out. Sorry guys, this is supposed to be Christmas movies.
Yeah.
Not Nick
not
almost dies
cast.
from a tornado.
The tornado cast.
What was the question?
There wasn't a question. I just
you were done?
Finished talking about my number 3.
Okay. Home Alone is good, but
it's great.
Yeah, it's iconic. I don't know what to tell you. That's how I feel about Christmas movies. Is like, yeah, they're iconic, but I'm also like.
You see, that's the difference between us.
Man.
Is I have very deep opinions on all of these movies.
Yeah, I just don't. So number two. All right, so this is one that came out last year.
Oh,
technically.
Okay.
So we've said that in order for a Christmas movie to be a Christmas movie, it has to come out either around Christmas time which is kind of like I don't know about that one.
Yeah.
Or it has to take place at Christmas. Well, let me tell you, this next one is both.
Okay.
It's both. Takes place during Christmas and came out on Christmas last year. I present to you. And this was my light bulb golden moment last night. I was like, yes, this is what I need to make the 5th. Present to you, Kaguya-sama, Love is War. The first kiss never ends.
God.
It is a Christmas movie. It takes place at Christmas. The main crux is Kaguya trying to figure out what to get Shirogane for Christmas and vice versa. And then them going to a Christmas party together. So it counts. It's peak fiction. Love is War. Dude, peak fiction. It's just the Love is War Christmas episode. It's peak fiction, bro.
I have not seen this, so I can't speak on this, but I'm just gonna have to kind of take your word for it. And so I don't know. The show is good. I would watch a Christmas version of the show. The show goes crazy. It
was good. It goes hard. It's also another one of those that branches from Christmas to New Year's.
Right.
So.
Yeah. There you go.
It's a banger. What can I say?
I recently watched a movie that's spread from Christmas to New Year's. I just can't remember what it was. Maybe it'll come to me. Anywho, right here, number 2, numero dos, para mí. An iconic movie that I only watched in the last 5 or so years. I didn't grow up on this one, but it's recently become one of my new favorites, and that is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Now, let me give this with a caveat. You gotta skip 2 scenes. You gotta skip him in the department store, and you gotta skip the pool. That's all you skip, and then the movie is phenomenal. It's hilarious. The thing is, it's not those 2 scenes are too inappropriate to watch with, you just got to skip that. But National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is so well done because it doesn't have a gimmick. It doesn't have a reason to exist. There's not there's this family, but one of them is this. One of them has a dark secret. It's they're just a crazy family. And I feel like that's how this movie has stood the test of time, is we really do just have crazy families. And so that Christmas feeling of my family's here and I want everyone to have a wonderful Christmas, but they're all crazy and they don't get along and this and that. That's so real. It's so realistic and it's so relatable to so many people that I feel like that's why I like it so much, because it's not oh, he's an elf, or oh, they left him home alone, or it's just it's very grounded and it's very funny. Chevy Chase, kind of an awful person from what I've heard, but he's hilarious in this movie. So I will give him that. I feel like that's a pretty general consensus, is we're yeah, he's not a good guy, but he's funny in this movie. So that's my number 2. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Wow. Well, we're on to number 1.
On to number 1.
I think this is the fastest we've ever gone through a top 5 list. Aside from, if you cut out all of us talking about the tornadoes, then yeah, it's the fastest we've ever gone through a top 5 list.
That's the other thing, is a Christmas movie is almost in its own category. You can't be oh, my favorite movie is Elf. It's I don't
right.
Elf and John Wick aren't in the same
What are you talking about? John Wick is my favorite Christmas movie.
TBH.
Duh.
TBH. You could make a case.
It's also, I also think it's different because Christmas movies are kind of self-explanatory.
Right.
And you don't really have to justify. Not that you have to justify your top 5 favorite movies or whatever, but you don't have to do that for Christmas movies. You know what I mean? So it does feel a little different.
It is different. But
all right, number 1.
I was we're keeping it casual. Number 1. Hit me with that number 1.
I think we both know. I think we know what each other's
know
number
what
1
it is.
Number 1, The Polar Express. Come on. Objectively, the greatest Christmas movie ever made.
This is not true.
Banger. It's so good. It's just, I've kind of been avoiding saying it, But if the Christmas movie isn't Magic Train Go Toot Toot, I don't want it. I could live without every single other Christmas movie I've mentioned on this list, except the Polar Express. If I have the Polar Express, I'm okay. I'm good. I don't got to worry about it.
I just don't understand that opinion because I didn't grow up on the Polar Express, and so I watched it for the first time when I was an adult, and I was like, this is really creepy. It's the animation that gets me. Like, it's hard to get past the uncanny valley of the movie. But I would also argue, like, the music is incredible, the story is incredible, like, it's super magical and almost dreamy. And so, like, I can get behind the Polar Express, but it's a lot of Tom Hanks.
Yeah, I think you're just wrong. You're just going to have to get over that one, buddy. You gotta, I mean, also, I was a train kid growing up, so I like trains. What can I say?
Okay, I like trains. Okay. Polar Express, that's, I don't think I've met someone else where their favorite Christmas movie is the Polar Express, though.
That just makes me unique.
You're the only person I've ever met that has said the Polar Express is the best Christmas movie.
It is. What can I say?
You know? All right. I respect that opinion. I respect it. All right, gang. It's the same thing from when we did this 3 years ago.
3 years ago. This has not changed.
My number one is Elf.
Shocker.
You already know
Wow.
who it is. You already know who it is. Listen, I don't know if this is a basic opinion. I really don't. This movie resonates with me on a personal level as a tall, curly-headed blonde man. This movie is me. I am Buddy the Elf. That was my Halloween costume this year, was Buddy the Elf. The music is incredible. I'm sorry, what's that? Oh, sorry. Jon Favreau made this movie. Hello? What a great director. He made The Mandalorian. And you can also say Will Ferrell, icon. This is probably his best role, honestly. I think it stood the test of time. Zooey Deschanel, I love her so much. I've yet to see something I haven't liked her in. I love her music. They work really well together, I feel. It's the most Christmassy Christmas movie out there, in my opinion. And so when you're ready to just go full Christmas spirit, Elf is the one I gotta turn on. That's my case. It's been my favorite for, like, pretty much ever. So it's one of those that it's like, I don't know if that'll change. So there you go. There's our top 5 Christmas movies of all time. Now, if you have a favorite Christmas movie, please
drop it in the comments down below.
In the comments down below if you're on YouTube, or in the Spotify question down below, or you're welcome to comment or send an Instagram DM. We'd love to hear from you. So, that being said,
gift exchange time.
I think it's present time.
All right, I want you to go first. I'm also,
okay.
I'd like to file a formal complaint with the sender of your gift.
So, every year we do our gift exchange, and it's one of my favorite parts of this podcast. And I got my package from Nick.
I'm so mad about this.
Like, 2 weeks ago at this point.
I'm so peeved.
And, I cannot wait. I have no idea what it could be. All I got in the mail was this box that says Funko on the front.
Is that the shipping label on the back?
What do you mean?
Like, don't flip. Not. Yeah, is that the shipping label?
I scratched it off.
Like, it just, like, it didn't come inside another box. It came in that box.
It came in a box that says Funko. And so it, like, really kind of gave it away. But that's okay. I'm still excited to open it. So.
It's also frustrating because it says on the top of the box exactly what it is. And I'm like,
really?
It would have been such a good reveal.
Oh, I didn't even read the top of the box until right now.
Oh, well then. Good.
Hold on.
That means you have no clue what's inside.
I don't even need a knife. There's like a little open tab.
This is perfect. I thought of this gift. I had to. So when I was there a couple weeks ago in November,
okay.
I asked Amy. I was like, So this is what I want to get Jackson. I just want to make sure you're not also going to get this for him. And she was like, I didn't even know you could do that, so go ahead. And I'm like, cool.
All right.
Wow, that's actually
little
really
Funko Pop
fancy.
action. This is kind of bougie. I'm impressed. Have you ever ordered online from them before?
No.
Shut up.
Let's go.
No way. Guys, it's me. It's me. I'm the Funko Pop. It's me.
I tried to
If
do
you're
my
watching on
best with the
video-
hair colors,
Oh my gosh.
but yeah, I did so that you can make a Funko Pop of yourself on their website.
Shut up.
And I was like, I got to do it to him.
It's me.
What
I'm
are
the
the
Funko
accessories?
Pop.
It's a microphone and a
So-
camera, right?
Hold on. I'm going to do the Funko Pop Cardinal Sin and take it out of the box.
Yeah, I don't know if that one has much resale value because it's custom.
Oh
So-
my gosh. Yeah, he has a little camera and a microphone. That's the coolest thing ever.
Yes, sir.
His arms move. He can take a little picture. Wow.
It actually
Oh my
looks like I
gosh.
really like the way the colors came out. It
Yeah,
didn't.
me too.
I was like, ugh, I don't know. That's a weird combination, but it was the
Right.
closest I could get because it was
Right.
either because I couldn't get the color brown for the beard. They
Yeah.
didn't have that as a hair color option,
Oh,
And I was like,
really? That's
oh.
weird.
so
But
I
also,
either
like-
had to go with like light blonde or the ginger.
Yeah. Oh,
And I was like,
this is
huh.
awesome.
The ginger is closer if he stands
Yeah,
in the
it
sun.
is. Oh my gosh, that's iconic. Let me get another thumbnail pic. Let me just like. All right, clean. That was. Thank
I'm gonna
you
have
so
to order
much.
one for myself so we can have matching Funkos.
That's so cool. I'm gonna put him back in the box so that he doesn't get too, so I can still put him on the black market after this episode.
I
But,
really
like,
love that you just put your name on this package, but then you put my address, like you live here.
Yeah, I said Jackson, but I live there. All right, so
Oh, perfect. I just ripped off all of the information in one go.
amazing. Thank you so much.
So
This
now
is-
no one will know where I live.
So I knew it was a pop, like a Funko Pop, but I was like, this is way better than I could have asked for.
I was really
so-
worried you saw the pop yourself and you knew it was
No.
one. And I was like, well, surely he'd think it's
I-
one of him. Because I would never like
No.
pop myself and send it to you. Like that's really narcissistic. To be like, I'm
feel like
gifting
that's
you a
next
Funko
year.
Pop of me.
Here's the thing. I don't know what Pop Yourself is. Like I didn't even know you could do this. Like I'm in the same boat as Amy. So thank you so much.
Perfect. Now you have a good gift idea for Amy.
So your gift, before you open it,
Okay,
I
before
really hope it's right. Because I've never ordered from the site that I ordered it from before.
Ooh.
So I hope that it's not like the completely wrong thing.
Is this a
But
packing
let me know
slip?
what you think.
Yes, so that needs to not be on
It needs to not be on camera.
That was bad. Okay. So this is the second year in a row you've gotten me some form of clothing,
yes.
which always seems to be a pretty good
It's a pretty
bet
safe bet for you.
for me, especially if you know someone. All right.
Yeah. Okay, it's the right thing.
Oh. Oh. I know this. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I remember sending you this on Instagram.
Right?
And
Right?
being like, I need this hoodie.
Isn't that funny?
That's so cool. Hold on. I'm going to take this sticker off. Hold on.
Oh, this is
I'll
exciting.
flip it so you can see it. This is what, for those who can't read it, or if you're audio only, it says, this is what the entire script to Disney Pixar's Cars 2 looks like on a hoodie. Pretty cool, right? This is so cool. And like you can actually see where they attempted to write the entire script.
It's
right
so
here.
funny because on the camera it's so small I cannot even see the script.
It's
like
I don't think it's not legible, but it's like there so you can tell, oh, they tried
Yeah.
to write something here.
right.
This is a top tier gift. Thank you.
I'm so glad.
That's
Of
so
course.
based.
Thank you so much.
We always pick the best gifts every year. Last year,
I don't
if
know
you
what it
haven't
is,
watched, last year you got me the Troy and Abed in the morning,
Yes.
I think.
Yes,
and then the
that
year
was the
before
shirt I
that, it
got.
was like some ornaments and
Oh, the VeggieTale stickers?
yeah, I'd have to go back and
What was-
watch.
What was
Exactly.
the ornaments?
The ornament, one of them was the Friends, the Central Perk cup.
Oh,
But it was like a
yes.
coffee cup.
Yes. I do remember that. That's when you were on your sitcom kick and you...
Yep, that was 2021, the year I watched Friends
Wow.
in 39 days.
Wow. Yeah. There you go. I told you. I said there's no one else I would ever buy that for.
No one else would ever think to buy me something
No.
like that.
So, flex on your friends with your Cars 2 hoodie.
I will.
And I'll do the same with my new friend.
I am
My
kind of
new-
sad because I legitimately, before we started recording this episode, I threw my darks in the washer. So now it has to wait
Dang
for the
it.
next
Dang
the next
it.
go around on the good old
Oh,
washing machine.
That's good. That's good. Well, gamers,
Wow.
we're at the end of our Christmas episode. It was chaotic as heck.
Much like a tornado.
We're alive. We're here.
We're vibing.
We're happy to be here. We're vibing. We're alive. We're not swept up. We got each other incredible gifts. We broke down our favorite Christmas movies. Tune in next week for our final episode of the year, which is crazy.
What? Final episode of the
Now-
year?
Let me say, every year we do year in review as our final episode, and it is it's consistently been my favorite episodes
It's
to record ever.
such a
It is
chaotic
so
mess
Much fun.
of
It is.
our ideas because we go over all of the movies we watched, all of the shows we watched, all the games we played, Spotify Wrapped, Apple Music Wrapped,
Yep.
Spotify for Podcasters Wrapped this year,
Yep.
which is talking about
Yep.
all of the things you guys did for us this year and the incredible growth we've seen. I'll give you a little spoiler.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
So we go over
Yeah.
all of that. It is also one of my favorite episodes because it's just a time to look back and reflect
truly.
on the year that has passed. Because it
Yeah.
and it is kind of shocking to think, like, it feels like 2023 just went by like that.
Right.
Like,
Especially when I think about the podcast of all the stuff we've done this year, and I'm like, there's no way that was this year.
I know, right?
You're crazy. You're crazy. So, hey, next week is our last episode of the year. Make sure you tune in. It's going to be incredible. And then next year, we're going to season 6 of the Nerdiest podcast, which is crazy.
And we got a lot of
Most shows
big
get canceled after that.
new things planned.
Big stuff, which is what we said last year, and it was true. And
was
we
very
just,
true.
We just keep raising the bar for ourselves, and I'm very thankful that we get to do this, and it's been a continued support. So more on that next week. Make sure you tune in. It's going to be really great. Unless you have anything else to say,
Nope.
I think that's the end of our Christmas party this year. Thank you so much for listening. We're alive. We didn't get sucked into the tornado, and that's a good thing. So make sure you follow us on Instagram at The Nerdiest Podcast and subscribe on YouTube at The Nerdiest Podcast. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can I give these people all of my money? Well, let me tell you, you can become a Spotify subscriber for only $3 a month. You get access to The Nerdiest Aftershow, which is our bonus episode show that will only increase in value as new episodes come out. So go check that out. You can also become a Patreon and get the same content. Thank you so much. If you're a little tight on cash, though, the best way to support us is to tell a friend about the podcast that you think would like it, because word of mouth is the best way for us to grow, and subscribe on YouTube. We're super close to 1,000. Super proud of that. We will see you next week for our year in review. Thank you so much for listening, and until then, we will see you in the next episode. Bye.